Welcome to the Wellness on Demand podcast, bringing you interviews with health, fitness, and wellness professionals, sharing proven strategies that empower you to lead a healthier life and achieve complete wellness. Here's your host, Garvin Reid.
All right, everyone, welcome to Wellness on Demand. I'm your host, Garvin Reid, and today I have with me Curtis Harris. Curtis is a personal trainer for over 10 years. And we're going to talk about a few things today around working from home and how you can survive and stay fit and stay healthy while we're in this situation with quarantine and being locked in.
Yeah.
First and foremost, let me say to all the essential workers out there, from the grocery store clerk to the doctors and nurses in the hospital, thank you so much for your service. We really appreciate all that you do, keeping us alive and going during this time of need.
That is true.
Curtis, why don't you introduce yourself to our listening audience?
Yes. So once again, my name is Curtis. My name is Curtis Harris. I've been a strength and conditioning coach, personal trainer for, like Mr. Reid said, over 10 years. This is, I think, is year 13 I'm in. I've been personal trainer for that long, and it's been a tremendous journey. It's been a blessing also, just how many lives that I've, one, touched, but two, overall have touched my life. It's a double-edged sword. So we both, me and my clients, have improved each other's lives. So don't get it twisted. It's a big life-changing moment each time that you step in with your clients, for you and for them. There's something to be taught and something to be learned.
I agree with you 100%. Just a little backstory on how I know Curtis. Curtis is one of the first personal trainers that I ever worked with. And I always tell people this, that Curtis is the only personal trainer that I've ever worked with that made me lose the most weight. Because he's right, there is something to be taught. It is a relationship between you and your trainer. And just having known him for the many years that I have known him and worked with him, it's been a tremendous journey. He got me started on my fitness journey, and my journey has changed since we've met. But definitely, he was the one that got me motivated to keep going and to continue to improve myself every day where it came to my fitness. So I thank you for that.
Hey, man, I thank you. I thank you for keep going. You know, the journey changes, like the path changes. Your path that you were on when I trained you is different from the path that you're on when you're training yourself, you know, and that's great. Change is excellent.
Agreed. So Curtis, tell me, how have you and your family been surviving during this time of shut-in and trying to stay healthy and stay active and stay focused?
It's, of course, as all of you know, in your individual lives, has been interesting, you know. For the most part, those of you that have children, the children have become probably rambunctious throughout this time frame. But as far as just living and coping with what's going on, it's for us, it's important to educate the children. My wife does a good job. I do a good job also when it comes to just talking to them and you know, giving them exactly what we feel like they need, spoon feeding them with what's going on. The same way we would talk to each other or talk to ourselves, which is, you know, not to worry. We don't want to get to the point of worry, but we just want to be aware and have a level of caution, but also not to let it deter your life in such a magnanimous way. So, you know, it's a lot of outside activity, not a lot of outside activity. It's more so of a, you know, go outside in the backyard. My wife takes them out in the backyard and they do chalk and things like that. So it's a blessing to have those type of things like a backyard. And as far as the other excursions, you know, they go to the grocery store. My wife will go to the grocery store and things like that. I'm in Jersey, so it goes the same way. Like, it's just a lot of grocery store trips. When needed, deemed necessary, and then back in the house.
Agreed. I agree. That's been my life for a little while, for the time being as well.
Yes.
And what would you suggest for folks with kids that don't have a backyard? How can they engage the kids in a way to keep them active? Kids have a lot of energy and they want to bounce all over the place at times.
Yeah, so definitely a lot of activities. Get the kids involved with what you would do. Like, if for me, I'm the type of person that likes to dance and have fun and listen to music. And it's not a big difference for me and my kids, but as far as, being a parent and not knowing what to do, especially a parent of young kids, not knowing what to do, I would say definitely do more activities with the kids. Teaching them is great in this time. There's a reason for everything. So teaching them, getting them to hone certain skills, to getting them to brush up on schoolwork, learning them, having them learn you, but play games, and make this a fun time as much as possible. Puzzles, of course, your quarantine brain, seems to run a little empty or run a little dry because, you're forcing yourself on trying to figure out what to do and not make things mundane. But that's the way, that's the way you learn. That's the way the kids learn. So what I would say is just as many activities as possible. And if you don't have a backyard, just step outside with the kids, get a couple of stretches in, say hello to people from afar.
Agreed.
say hello to them from afar, not, people that live in apartment buildings, that have family live in apartment buildings, complexes, not houses. I understand that can be challenging as well. Just, get the kids to go out in the hallway and run back and forth, play in the hallway, unless there's other kids out in the hallway. It's definitely a challenge, but accept the challenge that's at hand, because within every challenge is great opportunity, great opportunity for growth. And right now we're in a challenging time, so definitely accept the challenge, do more activities with the children, whatever it may be, like put, if they're having a bath, have them splash water on you and then things like that, just make it interesting, something out of the ordinary.
Right. So you're taking a regular activity and turning it into something else that'll make it entertaining for yourself and for the kids.
Right.
And kind of, it's an experience, right? A lot of this is, like you said, everything happens for a reason. Even though this is a bad situation, you can definitely make the best out of it. And this is an opportunity for you to spend some quality time with your kids that you normally would not have when you have to go to work, they have to go to school. There's so many other things usually happening in the world that keep you so busy that you don't have this time to get to learn your kids and have them learn you, really learn about you and what you do and learn about them and how they are, who they are as a person, right? So this is an opportunity that we definitely have to take advantage of so we can get to know our kids, and not just our kids, right? We're now stuck. A lot of us are now stuck in the houses with our significant other, our spouses, boyfriends, girlfriends, and that's a new experience too. Can you talk a little bit about what it's been like for you and your wife? Because now you guys are together all the time.
Well, it's interesting as far as people living together and things like that. Once again, it's the same thing like the children. Like, yes, it can be nerve-wracking at times. I do believe it can be nerve-wracking at times. But the thing is that if you sit back, for me anyway, in a situation like that, when you sit back and you just be quiet and analyze the situation for what it is, as much quiet as you can get, as quiet as you can get. You start cracking jokes, making fun. You start making light of different things, of the. It may sound a little crazy or messed up, but the things that would normally get the person upset, or get you upset, you have to try to make it humorous.
That's a smart way. I like that. Make it humorous, right? So laugh it off sometimes instead of getting angry because we're in this situation together, right?
Right. For example, you get your significant other to tell you you get on my nerve. Like, you need to stop all that. You get on my nerve. Oh, I can't stand you and stuff like that. That breaks the silence. That breaks the silence. It's great to talk and to speak at times, and it's also great to be silent. But if there's a time where it's been silent for a long time and, tension is building, you can, it's something has to give, something has to give. And, everything is not a bad thing. You may want to not pick on somebody, excuse me. You may want to just point out certain things like, oh, you have a booger in your nose or something like that. And you're like, I can't stand you. I can't stand you. I've been wanting to tell you I can't stand you from it. And just laugh it out. Just laugh it out. Find the humor in things. This is the perfect time to get to know everyone, to really get to know everyone, to really sit back. And above all else, getting to know everyone, you first have to get to know yourself. You have to get a grip on who you are. In these times, it's showing me, it's showing, I'm pretty sure others,
of course,
that you you have so many different dimensions of who you are, your character, your spirit, your being. There's so many different dimensions of who you are that you haven't even tapped into fully. You know, there may have been times in your life where you've tapped into it here and there for a spur of the moment. But now, when you're in these situations where it kind of forces you, which nothing does, it kind of forces you to put yourself in a different mindset and to bring out a different character. Now it's growth. You know, like I
Right.
said in the beginning, it's a lot of growth. Where there's a challenge, there's a chance to grow. There's a chance to change for the better, that is. When I mention the word change, and I might mention it throughout the course of this podcast, what I mean by change is change for the better. You know, that's exactly what I mean by change. Change, when I
Agreed.
say it, is change for the better. You know, somebody could say, "Hey, Garv, you know, I love you, man. Never change. Never change the person that you are." And I used to say that as well, not just to Garvin, but to others. And the thing is that yes, change is great, and change is also inevitable, whether you fight it or go to it. Like, you're gonna change. You're gonna change, and change is inevitable. So embrace it, because you want to change for the better. Situations that happen, that arise, they may. And I know I'm going off on a tangent, but
No, it's totally cool, man. We want to hear. It's a talk.
yeah. So you know, change is inevitable. You know, as far as like life goes and things of that nature, you have to change. Like, it forces you to change. You know, a flower has to change. It has to go through a process of growth. We do not stop growing once you get 25, 30, 35, 40. You continuously grow. Even when you feel like, you know, life is over or life is in shambles, you are going through that process that you probably have never gone through before. Even if it may be similar to what you've gone through before, it's a slight change, a slight difference. And that slight difference is there for you to grab a hold of it and make something better out of it. In fact, something better is happening for you at that moment. You know, people say to look on the other side. It's not more so look on the other side, it's to just sit down and track everything that's been going on. And how is this possibly something great for me? How is this possibly changing me for the better? And it absolutely is. I stand by that wholeheartedly, 100%.
I
1,000.
agree. I agree with you 100%, man. I always say, if you're not growing, you're dying, right?
Yeah,
Life is about change and growing, and everything that you do in this life is a learning experience. Every single day, you learn something from your experiences, and that's what ultimately changes you into who you are. The choices that you have as a person is, how will it change you? Is it going to change you in a positive way, or is it going to change you in a negative way? And that's a choice, right? You choose the direction you want to go with things that happen in your life. A lot of things are going to happen to you, good and bad.
right,
It's how you deal with those things when they happen to you that
right.
defines who you become as a person, right?
Right, exactly. You know, I just to add on a little bit to it. You know, there's also certain words that we have used in the past, or I speak for myself. There's certain words that I use for the past, like never, or always, or you know, I think, and things of that nature. There's certain things that I use. It's habitual. Like, everything is habitual. It's a habit.
Right.
Everything is habit. You know, even when you get into a bad mood, that's from a habit. Like, something within whatever it was that got you into that, or that you embraced, not that got you in a bad mood, that you embraced and took it on, and it became a bad mood within you. Chances are it's just a habit. It's a habit. Everything is habit. You get upset, that's a habit. You know, you're happy, that's a habit. You know what I'm saying? You
I agree with you 100% there. And with habits, like I had to learn about my own habits, right? There was a point in time I had all sorts of habits that I didn't know about or didn't know how to control. So I went along and I read books like Atomic Habits by James
right.
Clear and things
Yeah.
of that nature to learn about my habits, what they mean, and how to control them, because habits aren't permanent, right? They're things that you can change about yourself if you're consciously aware of them and you're making an effort to change them. You may smoke, that's a habit. Do you want to change it? That may be yes or no. And if you do, learn how to control that habit and how to change it and how to rechannel that energy, because that energy is, you can rechannel that energy. And it's a part psychology and a part biology, right? So there's your habits are formed psychologically, but they are enrooted in you biologically. So if you learn a little bit more about your habits and how they're formed and how you can change them, you can definitely change and adjust those habits to be things that benefit you for your good. So I definitely recommend the book Atomic Habits by James Cleary, and I definitely recommend learning more about your habits and how they're formed and how you can definitely control them.
For sure, for sure.
To pivot a bit, Curtis, I wanted to talk. Everyone right now is in a state of work. Most people, I shouldn't say everyone, is in a state of work from home right now and trying to figure it all out. And how's you're in a business where your business flourishes in an in-person setting, right?
Yes.
What has it been like for you pivoting from an in-person setting to a work from home setting as a trainer, and how does that all work?
So what was it like for me? It wasn't that much of a change. In fact, it wasn't a change at all. I had been running my own hybrid training. So I would train people in person, and I would also train people online via FaceTime.
Okay.
So it wasn't that much of a change for me. How much has it impacted me is based upon how much I stay in the house. So it has impacted me. It has impacted me a little bit more than before, because now I'm in the house more so than ever.
Right.
So I'm sorry, one more time, repeat the question.
I was just asking what has it been like going from a hybrid business as you have to a totally online business, and how did that change work for you?
Okay, so it's been fantastic in the sense that I can still reach out and help the people, help themselves. I can still help them help themselves, and also give them guidance from afar. We have a goal to set out, me and my clients and I, that is. We have a goal to set out from the very beginning. I have clients that I've been training for now 2 and 3 years, and we don't stop. That's just what it is. We have a goal to obtain, quarantine or not. We have a goal to obtain. If you have a phone, if you have a computer, a laptop, a tablet, we have a goal to obtain.
I like that.
Everybody has basically accepted the challenge from me, and that's what I do. Like I challenge you. I challenge you to do the things that are necessary that I know work.
Right.
That I know work. And it's not about changing your body. It's about changing everything. It's about changing everything. Mind, body, spirit, all of that stuff, all roll up into one. Your outlook on life, your habits, all of those things will change, but we have to make sure we stick to the challenge. We have to make sure we stick to the task at hand. And everybody's all in, and that's phenomenal. As far as, when this quarantine happened, when it kicked off, we already knew, for the most part, majority of my clients, and I have a handful of them, they already knew, like, okay, so when do we get this started? What do I need? Dumbbells? And, a lot of my people, if everybody that's listening does not know, there is a shortage of dumbbells. There's a shortage of lots of exercise.
I did not know that. Really?
Yeah.
I guess a lot of at-home exercise equipment is probably flying off the shelves right now, right?
For sure. And that is phenomenal for those who are actually using them.
Right.
It's phenomenal for those who are actually using them. I tip my hat and I commend them, because life doesn't stop. You're not dead. You haven't died. And, it does not stop. This is just a situation. These times, once again, are necessary for whatever reason. I don't know. I have my own assumptions on what's
right, of course,
necessary or what's happening, but it's happening. So nonetheless, right. I see people jogging outside. I see people jogging outside with masks, no masks, gloves, no gloves. They're still living life. And
right.
That's one of the things in these times that I have really appreciated, is the fact that not only myself, my clients, and I are still going, so that we can knock off these goals in the time frame that we set out, or shorter, because that does happen, or in a shorter time frame. But also the people that I don't know, that are not clients of mine, that I see outside running with their kids, they're still living life. And I know another person may say that's crazy, that's inconsiderate, and things of that nature. And once again, crazy, inconsiderate, those type of comments are arbitrary. They're changed from person to person. So you have to, so it is tough, but I admire the fact that they are out there, they are training, they are still trying to remain healthy. Because you got to think about it. There are people that, when this pandemic hit, there were people that were trying to get their lives together, that were actually facing, life-changing, life-altering situations. And exercise and eating right was the thing that was making things change for the better in their lives. So now what do? Do you sit at home? No. They still go outside and they walk with their girlfriends, their sisters. They're high stepping it. They're laughing and having a good time. You know what I'm saying? Like
No, I agree
that's the
with you on that.
mindset that I love. But as far as as far as like the change, I'm a people person. Like I like getting out. I like walking. I love nature. I love walking. I love just interacting with people. So
Right.
even though I do interact with people on a day-to-day basis, family, friends, via FaceTime or in person, if anything, that's the impactful part. But I also have embraced the fact that once again, this change, this pandemic is happening for a reason. So for me, this is happening for a reason. And also just the commitment that my people have embodied. You know, the commitment that my people have embodied, even the commitment that the people on Instagram have embodied, even the commitment that you're embodying, and people
the challenges.
Right.
Agreed. So for me, I totally agree with you on that in terms of being a people person, being outside, getting fresh air, and a part of being stuck in my house for the last, I want to say, 2 months has driven me a little stir crazy. So I found ways of getting out and getting that fresh air and that physical exercise. Right. I try to go out in the mornings when there are less people outside. So I usually go out around 7. I wear a mask, I wear my gloves, I wear all that, but I still go to the track down the block where there's nobody, and I run around the track or get a walk in. And you can still do small activities to get, to get your physical activity in and still stay healthy while doing it. Just make sure you're covered and you're wearing the right protective gear.
Right, exactly. You know, if you live in an apartment building and you want to exercise, listen, the best thing that I did when I was in the house, when it was really hot outside and I didn't go anywhere, and I've always exercised. So the thing that I did, and my cousins actually still do to this day, is they train hard inside the house, open up all the windows to let all the funk out, but also opening up all the windows and having the windows open so that they can get that fresh air. You don't understand how much fresh, not central, but fresh air from outside, from nature, does to your body brain. It does something to you on such a monumental level in a positive way.
I agree with you with you on that 100% there. And for me, like I said, I need that fresh air. So I get it where I can. I've even turned my apartment building into an exercise or a gym, if you will. My stairs are now a Stairmaster. I run up and down the stairs like 4, 5, 6 times just to get that exercise and that motion in. And so, which brings me to another great question. What kind of equipment would you recommend for folks that are at home to use exercise? It doesn't necessarily even have to be fitness equipment. It could be standard things that they have in their houses that they could use to get fit and to work out if they're not comfortable with going outside.
Of course. A lot of things that you can use within your household. Of course, as long as you don't break it, whatever type of parents that you have, and they're like, no, put that down, don't touch this, don't break that. Number one above all else is your body. Body weight exercises are tremendous. There's a football player, former football player, Herschel Walker, that used to do, not saying people have to do this, but he didn't touch a weight, I believe, until like college. Every day he would push out 1,500 push-ups and 1,200 whatever, and all of it was body weight exercises.
Wow.
And he, of course, genetics play a part in it also. So he was jacked. He was lean, he was ripped, he didn't touch a weight, he was strong as an ox. Look him up, Herschel Walker.
We'll definitely do that.
Yeah, he was strong as an ox, and he played football on the highest level in the NFL, college as well. So there's great benefits in bodyweight exercises. Volume, when it comes to bodyweight exercises, because you're not lifting weights, because you cannot choose the type of weight that will challenge your body in a short period of time, as opposed to body weight. Body weight, you need to do a lot of volume, or high burst, or quick movements for high volume. That's going to get your heart rate up. That's going to get the muscles pumping. It's going to give you a good pump, and that's what you need. Those are the things that you need all in one. You can't run outside. Maybe you can run in the staircase. That is another one, Garvin. Thank you. That's another one. The staircase is definitely your new track and field, your new Stairmaster, your new everything. Bodyweight exercises, push-ups, push-ups, planks, sit-ups, Spider-Man planks, different variations of push-ups, jump squats, single leg jump squats, reverse lunges. These are a lot of things that you can do within 20 to 30 minutes, and you'll be taxed. You do it correctly, you'll be taxed. Just going hard, going at it.
And you're saying 20 to 30 minutes is ample time to do this and get your body going in the right direction.
Of course.
Okay.
You know, hands down. You know, even 10 minutes. If you do one exercise for 5 to 10 minutes, you know, say if you're a beginner, you know, you never worked out ever, and you taking this quarantine time to really step it up and take that step forward. First of all, congratulations on making that decision. That's the hardest decision that I know in the last 10 plus years of my training that people have to go through. Is the first step, which is to, one, get up or get down and do push-ups. Don't even hesitate and think about it or plan it. Just drop down and get push-ups. You know what you're doing. And if you don't know, just attempt it. The attempt is fantastic. But going back to what I initially opened up the statement was, if you even if it's just 5 minutes, and you're a beginner or you haven't worked out in eons, just get down there for 5 minutes and just pump out one exercise. And of course, that one exercise for the most of people, majority of us, would be push-ups. You know, get some kneeling push-ups in and just go for even 3 to 5 minutes. Just go nonstop, take a break, go back at it. And you feel a lot of significant benefits over time with those push-ups. And then those push-ups will turn into other exercises. And then you'll have a routine. And that routine should last you, or hopefully should last you for 20 to 30 minutes. And you'll get a really good full body workout within 20 to 30 minutes. I promise you, as long as the intensity is there. You know, whatever level of intensity that you can endure without really hurting yourself. And what's hurting yourself? So hurting yourself would be, you know, laying on the floor, sprawled out. You know, you want to challenge yourself. You want it to be a little strenuous on your body, because that's what changes. Change is putting you in a position, or putting your body, your muscles in a position to where it's like, we've never been here before and we're getting a little weak now. Are we going to stop? And that's when you continue. I believe it was a quote from Muhammad Ali that said, he doesn't start counting the reps until he starts to burn.
All right. I respect it. So that's actually great advice, Curtis. And you touched on in the beginning of the conversation, you touched on volume. What is volume? Because volume for everyone is relative, right? Volume for me is different than volume for say you or someone else. When you say volume, even just for a beginner, like, so I'm here for 5 minutes, but my 5 minutes could be one push-up or it could be 15 push-ups. Like, what do you mean by volume?
So, like you said, like, it's the repetition, you know, it's the amount of reps that you get in. So that's the volume. So as far as, let's go to that person that does one rep, and they're like, that's it. You know, you go one rep, that's it. And then when you got enough, and you know, your body knows when I can do one more of those. You may not know, but your body knows that you can do one more of those. Once you do that one rep, count as far as you can, count to 20, count to 15 while you're laying down, while you're sitting down. Count as far as you can count, and then get back down and do another one rep. You know, you want to get back down and do that one rep. It's a game. You know, it's a game. You want to turn it into a game. It may be a painful game. You want to turn it into a game. You know, you get down there and you do your one push-up with your 15, and then you count. You count to yourself during your rest period. Okay, all right, I'm counting. I'll count all the way to 60. Then I'm going to go back down there and attempt 15 again. You may not get to 15. You may get to only 10, you know, but that's better than not getting any, you know.
Okay, that's fair.
You keep going. You give yourself, let's say you give yourself 5 minutes to do as many push-ups as you can, or 5 minutes to do as many squats as you can. You just go and you remember your limit. You remember your limit of squats that you did the first round. Whew, that hurt. I did 20 squats. I'm in pain. My muscles are crying. And then you count it down. You time the amount of time that you gave yourself for rest. And then you go right back at it. See if you can get that 20 again, or even 21. See if you can get that 20 again. The whole thing is you want to challenge your body.
Okay.
Challenge is where it's at. The challenge is where it's at. And when you start doing it on your own, especially, when you start doing it on your own, then you really feel something special happening.
I agree with you. I agree with you on that wholeheartedly. For me, the fun, I love to track and measure things.
Yeah.
So I like to write everything down. And what I've done is I use a program called MyFitnessPal, where when I'm exercising at home now, I put in the number of reps or the number of this or the number of that. So the next day when I go back and look at it, I can be like, oh, that's what I did yesterday. I feel good about that. Let me try that again today.
Exactly.
So I like to record it.
Progress. One second. One more for Garvin. Progress. That's exactly what it is. And thank you for saying that, for making that a little clearer. Like the progress. You want to see the progress. So if you write down 15, you did 15 push-ups, and you write down number 15, and then you give yourself a minute rest. Within that minute rest, you got no choice but to go down and get as many push-ups as you can, because you gave yourself a minute. So when you give yourself a minute rest and you can only get 10 push-ups in, then you mark down 10. You write down on a list, you write down on a piece of paper from 1 to 10. And from 1 to 10, those are your sets of push-ups. Okay, I got 15 the first time, 10 the second time, 5 the second time, 1. Then I gave myself, it's just, yes, it's progress. That's what it is. Like, you want to see progress. You want to see that you're progressing for the better. And you will, especially if you accept the challenge and you challenge yourself day by day.
Agreed. One of the sweetest feelings for me, I have an iron gym in my house that I used to, one of those things that you put up on the doorknob and do pull-ups on, right?
Yes.
And I used to use it as a coat rack. It's been a great coat rack for many, many years, right?
Right.
And now in this time of quarantine, it's being used for its intended purpose.
Okay.
At an iron gym. But one of the greatest things for me, when I first got the iron gym, I couldn't even do one pull-up, and that's why it became a coat rack. And the sweetest feeling for me was going to the iron gym and pulling myself up and realizing I was doing 6 pull-ups instead of not even being able to do 1. I felt so great about myself.
Excellent.
That I wanted to do pull-ups every day, because I was like, oh wow, I can do these now. This is so cool.
Yep. And that's the invigorating feeling that you get when you've accomplished something that you may have thought was impossible, and you may not have had a thought about it. That thought may not have arrived, but your body felt it. Like, yeah, we're not doing this today. You can put the coats back on that, because we're not having that.
Oh, I know what you mean. But before we do, what I have to touch on, my biggest struggle, I've working with you and I've worked with a few other trainers as well. I've gotten past the struggle of the exercise. Mm-hmm. My biggest challenge right now is the food. Mm-hmm. So I want to know, what are you guys eating in this time of being inside, and how do you recommend people stay healthy while they are maybe anxious and food is a way to distract you, or eating what comfort food may make you feel better about what's happening right now? What are your thoughts on that?
One main thing that comes to mind is water. Our body is made up almost of 80% water. So with that said, that the body doesn't need, not to say the body doesn't need food, but the body doesn't need as much food as the majority of us in the US, especially, take in. The portions are a little bit out of control, or the binge eating. And depending on the binge eating, it could be, the portions in the binge eating could be too much. Some people,
right. I've been guilty of that.
Yeah. Some people have Thanksgiving feast at a binge eating, and they binge eat 10 to 12 times out the day. Like, where's all this food coming from? But it's the water intake for me, for the clients or the people that I've trained over the years and I've helped over the years, and their bodies look phenomenal over the years, and you can call them. It's the water intake. We have turned away, or we've never even been there in that mindset when it comes to drinking more water or fluids. Not sodas, not juices, not sugary drinks. Of course, that. But it's more so of the water intake. The water intake helps flush toxins out of the body. It also helps for you to burn fat and things like that. And then that's a whole nother story, and I don't want to get into that.
A new thing I just learned. Good to know.
It aids in it. It doesn't burn fat.
Right.
And it, your body sweats, so you need water. It's just your body needs water for so many different functions, especially your brain. If you drink a great amount of water, like I drink 100 ounces of water. Because I have a 50 ounce liter bottle, steel bottle that I drink out of twice a day. So I'll drink maybe 3 times. The majority of the times it's twice a day. Mm-hmm. And if I don't drink it, Garvin, if I drink one of those, I don't have as much. I don't have as good of a rest or good of a sleep at night, no matter what time I go to bed. Like I don't have
wow.
rest because I realize that it's the water. Like your brain needs a certain amount of fluid. It needs a certain amount of water throughout the day.
How do we know how much water we should be taking in?
There's different types of studies and things like that when it comes to how much water we should be taking in. As as their studies have gone on, you talk about women that need to drink about 95 ounces of water, and guys need to drink about 100 and some ounces of water. So it all depends. It all depends on the person, I should say.
Okay.
The person is a little different because I've approached my clients based upon these studies. I've approached them in different ways. And I realized that each one is not particularly geared to everyone. It's geared from person to person. So definitely play with it. Look online, study the portion controls and things like that. 8 cups of water, people say to drink 8 cups of water and things of that nature. Those small Poland Spring bottles, my clients normally drink those. So on average, they drink about 10 of those. The women drink about 8 to 10 of those. Some of them, not all of them. They drink about 8 to 10 of those. The men tend to drink about 10 to 12 of those a day. And they have built themselves up to that. So their rest has improved. Their actual functioning throughout the day has improved. And it's all attributed to the water intake. Nothing else changed in the very beginning. In the very beginning, all I asked them to do was to drink 1 to 2 more bottles of water throughout the day. That's it. That's it. And that's coming from no water drink. That's just coming from straight coffee and no water drink. So I realized through them and also through myself that water is water is greatly beneficial for the body in its entirety. In its entirety.
And it has another powerful trick too. Water keeps you full. Like if you've decided that you want to try to control your portion intake, drinking a lot of water behind that fills you up. It gives you that feeling of satiety so that you don't want to eat more. So that's a good benefit there as well.
And if you think about it also when it comes to food consumption, right? I just talked about habits. We have built a habit to put our hand to our mouth with something in it that's edible, since we were babies, since we could lift food up with a fork or spoon or with our hand. When you feel a grumbling in your tummy, people would say, or somebody would say, or you've learned over the years, oh, I'm hungry. You most likely may not be hungry. You most likely may not be hungry. Some people think that's hunger. Some people it's like, oh, that's gas. I have gas. Or they have an issue with their intestinal tract. Like it has nothing to do, majority of the time, it has nothing to do with hunger. It's more so, but your body just needs water. The main thing is that your body needs water. And just to piggyback on what you said about, a filler, it exactly is what it is. I had a client that, I had 2 actually, that really loved Snicker bars. They really love to eat Snicker bars. That was like their snack. They could have 3 Snicker bars. This is true. They could have 3 Snicker bars for dinner and have like some ramen and they'd be fine. 3 Snicker bars and some ramen and they would be okay. And you look at it like you said, oh, wow. And of course, person to person, everybody's lifestyle is different.
Right.
You look at it and it's like, okay, well, this can't fly. This can't happen. This is the reason why you came to see me, more so than anything else. And we slowly but surely cut the Snicker bars out, because it's a habit. First, I had to get her to understand that you developed a habit. Your body loves the taste of Snicker bars. The way they packaged it, the commercials, everything. They love everything about a Snickers bar. You could smell peanuts and think of a Snickers bar, and it could just be peanuts in a bag. Everything that makes up a Snickers bar, it's going to trigger something, and that's because it's been a habit over the years. A habit has built up over the years of, oh, I love a Snickers bar. I'm going to eat a Snickers bar. To now, every 3 hours, you're going to have a Snickers bar, or every 5 hours, you're going to have a Snickers bar or 2. So now we cut that Snickers bar in half. We cut it in half and we see if we can add some more water to that. So instead of you drinking 2 Snickers bars, you have a Snickers bar and a half, or a Snickers bar and a half. And replacing that half would be some water.
Okay, that makes sense.
Take a whole Snicker bar away, and you have a full 8 ounce of water. So now you have one 8 ounce water bottle full of water to drink and replacement of one of those Snickers bars, you know? And for those Snickers eaters out there and things like that, and people that have,
I love Snickers. I'm with you there with the Snickers.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. It's just one of those things where you have to decide. At some point you're going to decide. You're going to make a decision. Unless your love for Snickers bars will never die. But you have to decide. Like people come to me and they say, okay, well, I want this and I want that. My goal is this. And I go, okay, well, this is what we're going to do. You're going to continue to eat. First of all, you're going to continue to eat the way you're going to eat. I'm not going to change that in the very beginning. That's not happening. I could tell just from the conversation that we have during the first evaluation. That's not going to happen. And the majority of the time, that's what it is, Garv. But then when they start training, their bodies start to change. But then because of your eating patterns, I don't like to say your nutrition or your diet, but your eating patterns, right? Your patterns of eating. And of course, what you're eating, but your patterns of eating for the most part, that's going to get in the way at certain points. There's a certain level of fat that you carry because your body has not trained in a while or ever. So your body it's going to hit your body really hard. You're going to lose a substantial amount of body fat, and then you're going to plateau. And then when that plateau hits, now the decisions start to happen. Now you have to really think about it. You're going to sit down and talk to me and go, Curtis, what's going on here? And the exercise is only 20% of your body change. The 80% is eating habits. So now, instead of you having General Tso's and yellow rice, let's take out half of the General Tso's and put in some broccoli. So I'm not
slowly make slow incremental changes.
Right. Exactly. I'm not silly. I understand that most people, or some people, I can't say most, some people based upon people that I've trained in the past, they'll text me like, Curtis, I had a bad weekend. I go, okay, it's all right. Like you can have a weekend like that and we change it up. Like it's not a bad weekend. You know what I'm saying? Like you like what you like, you love what you love. Just know that you can't like it or love it that much because you'll end up right back where you didn't want to be in the first place. So just the overall approach also, having that understanding of people, having that understanding of people and the person that you are with, that's a great benefit. That's something that may be overlooked when it comes to training in some trainers' eyes. It's just the connection between you and the person, because that's what it takes. It takes a true, genuine connection with the person for them to call you at like 12 a.m. and like, yo, I messed up. I was at a party and I had alcohol. I know you told me those are empty calories. And I'm like, it's 12 in the morning. But because you are you and because we gained that connection, I understand it wholeheartedly. Plus, I'm a people person and I love to help. So
agreed.
You feel comfortable with coming to me and calling me at 12 in the morning. That shows the level of commitment that you have for us as a team, you know what I'm saying? And to achieve these goals. And it's not just to achieve these goals for one time. It's lifetime. This is why I have clients for 3 to 5, 2 to 3 to 5 years. It's because it's a life change. It's all about habit changing. I'm new in your life. When you first meet me, I'm new in your life. So everything with me is new. And it's going to be a lot of resistance for the most part because it's new. It's a challenge. It's a change. It's changing your daily habit. That's all it is habits. Habits. But yes, what I do is I take out, for example, that General Tso's, and I take all that. I take half of that out and I put in some broccoli, steamed broccoli, no cheese, no nothing. I just take it out and I put it there. I tell you, put it there and eat that. And believe it or not, their body starts to change. And the more, the more that you plateau or you feel like things aren't changing, or you feel like you reached a plateau, or you feel like, oh, I want this, I want that, I'll slowly slide certain things into you. Well, if you want this, if you want biceps and triceps like this, then how about taking about a quarter of the rice out and putting in some black beans, put in some black beans, red beans. So yes, so by the end of the year, your daily lunch and dinner looks totally different from your daily lunch and dinner from the beginning of the year.
And from personal experience, I can say that the incremental change actually works.
Mm-hmm.
When you try to make that big switch and try to turn it over one time, you may be successful for a period of time, but eventually you fall off that wagon. But if you slowly make small little changes and you start to enjoy those small little changes that you're making, eventually it is easier to stick to those changes over time, from my own personal experience.
Exactly. I have something to ask you, right? Have you ever been like really mad, like pissed off? You've been pissed, and then somebody comes up to you smiling and happy, and they're like, Garv, you need to relax. Have you ever had that?
I've had those, of course. If we're human, I can't say everybody has, but I think we all have had that moment, right? Like,
right. And how did you feel when that person told you? Basically, like,
I don't want to hear this.
Right,
I'm not in the mood for that.
Right. And the reason why I've come to understand is throughout my life, and a couple of years ago, actually, I've come to understand that I have become content with a lot of things. I understand that there are things that I cannot change, that I have no control over, and there are things that I have control over. So why focus on the things that I don't have any control over? It's going to be what it's going to be.
Agreed.
And with that said, I understand that there's levels to things. So with that said, when that person comes up to me or comes up to you and say, Garvin, like, cheer up. Number one, yes, of course, you're going to be a little upset because that person knows nothing about what you are going through.
Right.
And number two, for me, which is with a star, an asterisk next to it, number two would be there's a list, and I got it from Abraham Hicks. For those of you listening to this podcast, there's Esther and Jerry Hicks. They have a whole bunch of books, and Abraham Hicks is a spirit that talks through Esther Hicks, and they have a book called The Vortex. And one of the things that I've learned is there's another book that they have. I can't put my finger on the name at the moment, but one of the main things that really changed me for the better, my life for the better, was there's a list. They have a list, or an emotional scale list, so to speak. I believe that's what it is. It's from 1 to 21. And as you go lower, you're into depression. The words are there: depression, sadness, illness. But when you go to the top, at the top of the list, number 1 is joy. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think right under that, number 2 is bliss. So anyway, once you get to like number 5, then you're entering like a positive state according to this chart. And I realized that, wow, like I've been trying to reach joy and happiness, right? Just every day. Like I just wake up like, I'm gonna be happy today. But it don't work that way. It don't work that way. For me anyway, it don't work that way. So what I realized is that I'm more content now with everything than I've ever been. And content is number 5 on the list, And I realized that, and this is for everybody, of course, listening to the podcast. I don't know, the reason why I'm saying this is for whatever reason, but I'm saying it. Pursuit of happiness and things of that nature, happiness and bliss and joy, it's all in you. It's all in you already.
Very true.
People say that, oh, you have a choice. It's all in you. Don't think Tony Robbins said the quality of your life depends solely on the quality of your evaluation. And that I read probably like 7 years ago, 8 years ago, and it really stuck with me. The quality of your life depends solely on the quality of your evaluation. If somebody is telling you, Garvin, cheer up, and they know nothing about what you're going through, the worst thing, or one of the things that might happen, is it might add fuel to the fire.
Agreed.
And now you walking around angry or hating, for lack of a better word, more people. And now this person is included.
Agreed.
But when you look at it from another way, or you really sit with it, and that's what I do a lot of times. And I tell my clients, Curtis, what do I do with this situation? Because personal trainers are not just people that train your body. We also are there. We have a lot of hats. So we are turn into your best friend at times, or over time, we are your best friend. We counselor and things like that, or just a sounding board, just a sounding board for somebody. And people need it. Even I do. They need this. They need this podcast, you know, and it's excellent that you put it together.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You know,
and you're right. Everyone needs a sounding board and needs someone that they could feel like somewhere they feel like they can be heard, right? Their emotions, their thoughts, their feelings, what they're going through can be heard by someone else, or at least someone can empathize with their situation.
Right. Exactly.
Curtis, thank you so much for coming on our first episode of Wellness on Demand. And we really appreciate you being on the podcast. Can you tell our listening audience if they want to connect with you for personal training, or they're interested in just connecting with you and learning more about your philosophies, where can they find you?
Okay. So, yeah, first of all, Garvin, it's been excellent. I'm glad that I was chosen to be the first person on your podcast. And I wish you nothing but the best, man.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
And that's all the challenges included. Don't let any of these challenges, trying times get you down. You know, if they get you down, that's fine. Just get up.
That's right.
But as far as the listeners go, I appreciate you guys for listening. I got love for everybody. You know, I want you guys to understand that these trying times are for a reason, believe it or not. Take the time out to be quiet, to get to know self as much time as you can, get to know self and be quiet. I appreciate all of you, because all of you have done something in this world, in your life, that has benefited me. So I'd like to take the time out to thank everyone that's listening, and of course, everyone that's not listening. And you can reach me. My Instagram is Curtis Harris _fit. So that's CurtisHarris _FITT. That's 2 T's at the end. And my Facebook is Cross Compound. That's Cross Compound, CROSSCOMPOUND.
Thank you so much, Curtis, for sharing your contact details with our listening audience. And thank you again for being here, guys. Join us on the next episode of the Wellness on Demand podcast. Thank you so much for your time and attention. Until next time.
Peace.
You've been listening to Wellness on Demand with Garvin Reid. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.wellnessod.com.